My son started changing once the pressure changed. So this is a bit of a look at how homeschooling has been for my son and for me. So just remember to like and subscribe so you can get more content just like this. So when bringing my son to homeschool at home, it wasn't just like, hey, let's collect a lot of books and learning material and start learning. I wanted to make sure that he was getting the proper learning in materials and still following with the curriculum. So I registered my son for the online school that's accredited. And another thing that they do, this is a big thing, I'm just throw this in there. They do, once your child is in 3rd grade and up, start state testing, which means they go to a location and they test, and this test is going to show if what your child is learning at home is being learned by them and are actually catching on to the material and where they're at with their learning. And with this test, I can't be in the room as his mom, and he has to take the test by himself. I can't be nowhere around him, and this is to make sure that he's taking the test. So some of the things that I have here on the wall is things that I've always had. Before he even started school, I was already like teaching him things like the alphabet, numbers, and things like that. So a lot of these things are things that I've already had to prepare and teach him as he was getting older. Now, when it comes to the online schooling, what helps us out a lot, well, what helps me a lot, is I create schedules for my son to follow on which classes he needs to be logged into. And then he has workbooks from the school, what pages he needs to be working on and what he needs to do to get those things turned in. This right here is called a behavioral chart. So we don't use this much anymore. We used this a lot when he was younger, like when he was in like kindergarten, 1st grade, maybe 2nd grade too. And this was, just Travis going into better behavior. So I would mark it if he's doing any of these things. I would like put a 1 if he's doing any of these things. And this is just inside the home. And then I would mark if he's doing okay with one of these things. And I'll mark a 10 if he's doing great with one of these things so he can see it. The other thing that helps with the homeschooling, and what helps with a lot of children, these are things that I use in the classroom, especially with children that needed it. And I definitely use it with my son. We use this all the time. This is called the reward chart. So the reward chart is different rewards that he can get. So he has to, once he completes a lesson, he gets a star. He would have to get 3 stars in one box in order to get whatever one of the choices he chooses. It could be some TV time, playing with toys. He has to fill up one of these boxes just to go to the ice cream shop or just get ice cream, play center, different things, small toys, a break. So he puts stars on here. Now I have another star chart. Now this is called the big star chart. He has to fill up 2 pages. And he ain't got started on that one yet, but he filled up this page. He has to fill up that whole page in order to go on a special field trip. Because the online school, they do have field trips, but this is like for me to take him on a field trip. So the goal for this one is to go to Cedar Point Amusement Park. So hopefully he'll, and the thing is, because he only gets 1 star per assignment, he chooses where that 1 star go. So he can either choose to put it here or somewhere over here. A lot of times he just be wanting to put it over here. Now that he's realizing that it's coming to the end of the school year, he's trying to fill this up because he want to get it filled up so that he can go to the Cedar Point amusement park. This is an incentive to get him to do the work and complete the work, because sometimes he's like, oh my God, I gotta do this lesson, this lesson, this lesson. And he do get breaks in between. That's one of the other good things about the, doing school at home. So if he do 3 assignments, he gets, to take, a little break instead of just sitting there trying to complete all assignments. Now, he also have these things that helps him with breaks. I'm going to show you that. Just give me a second. Please don't go away. Just give me a second. I'm going to show you these things that I use for him for break. 1 second. They're at his desk. So I'm going to just bring the whole cup. So he has these 3 sticks. 3 sticks that I made. They're called break sticks. Now he gets to, like, this is for class. This is for live class only. So if he's in a live class with a teacher and that class is like an hour and a half long, and like if you watch videos before, it's really hard for him to just sit there like a straight hour and a half without moving. So he's allowed to use these to take breaks. So this, if he has to be sitting at least 30 minutes listening to the teacher or whatever and completing whatever live assignment she has. And then if he chooses to, he'll come give me a stick, say, Mom, I need to take a break. He'll give me the stick and he'll go take a break. And the break is not long. The break is just like a minute or 2, just for him to stretch his feet, walk around or whatever. He might go grab a toy, play with it for a second, and I'll tell him, okay, get back in class. And then after a little bit longer, he'll do the second break with this stick. He used to do all 3 sticks. Now he only does 2. So he's only taking 2 breaks, I found, when he's doing a live class. On Friday, he might only do 1, if he even do 1 at all, because he really likes Friday's live classes. Even though he's learning, they have some fun online activities for them to do. And that helps out a lot for him. I also found that the one-on-one attention that he gets from me and the assistance he gets from me with doing his classwork has been very helpful. It keeps him from just like getting so frustrated with like, oh my, when he gets stuck and he can't understand, like, okay, what is this about? What am I supposed to do? Things like that. And there's no distraction, going on, because it's just him in the classroom, or, well, homeschool. This is our classroom right here. We just turned the dining room into, it's still a dining room, but just kind of got like a little homeschool feel. But he's able to focus completely. We do on our schedule, I'm gonna bring the camera close, so don't freak out if you see some movement. Don't freak out. But I just want to show you this. This is the May. Now, how I break these up is like right here where you see it says live. These are his live session classes. And I put in the lunch break, and then he has his time outside right here. This is his time outside. Now, the importance for me having that is so that he can see it too, because the visual has helped out a lot with him. It made it a lot easier for him to understand what is going on, what the flow of the day is, what is expected of him throughout the day. On the board right here, I'll have, that should have been changed to a 0, but this is for today. So on the board, I put how many assignments does he has to do for the day. So today he had, I think, 5 assignments and 3 classes today. And every time, this is what we do to help him with the class, to understand, like say if he had 5 assignments, or 6, let's say 6 assignments today. He has 6. Every time he completed an assignment, he'll come to the board, he'll mark 5, and then he may get a sticker and put it where he wants. He has to get 3 stickers to even get one of these things. And then he'll go back to doing this assignment. When he completes another one, he comes to the board and he puts the 4. This is a way to keep him accountable for what he's doing, and so he can see that he can see that number going down. And once he gets down to 1, he may erase the whole thing, or he may just put 0 on there. I found that to be very helpful for him. I did something similar to this for one of the kids in my class that was just having like a hard time and feeling overwhelmed with work. Like if I was to give a math sheet, I had to do this with my son too. If I would give a math sheet, like I did one of the kids in class, they would feel overwhelmed by all the math problems that's on the sheet. So what I would do is I would fold the math sheet into either half or 3s, either going this way or this way. So it seemed like they don't have that much to do. And then when they complete it, flip it over, and then, oh, you don't have that much to do. You only have this many. And it doesn't feel so overwhelming to the child. Believe me, it works. Do that, it works. I notice when he's included with these things, and he with all of these things and marking them down and things like that, he feels included in what's going on with his education. He feels very included with what's going on with what he's doing. He understands what the expectation is, and he can see it in real time, if that makes sense. So in that aspect, you know, of how I homeschool, that has worked for me. Everyone else, it could be a little different, but I found when I include him, when I give him rewards for assignment, it helps him to get through it a lot easier, because in the beginning it was not like this. We were doing homeschool upstairs in my home office. That's where we're doing that. We ain't have all this stuff that we have right now. And he would just kind of get frustrated because he feel like he's just sitting there, and he's like, this is taking forever. You know? And he says that, like, literally, he would say that, oh my gosh, it's so boring. He would do all those animated things, even with the lives. He would do that. He was like, oh my gosh, he talks so much. Mom, this is draining. I'm like, just listen. But now that certain things are put into play, you know, it helps him get through the day, because the bulk of it that bothers him is like having to sit for that first class that's an hour and a half long, like literally having to sit that long. So we got the sticks to kind of break it up, allow him to get up, you know, stretch his legs and things like that. And I think that's good for a kid, because shouldn't your child just have to be just sitting there? Trust me, when I had my kindergarten class, people would peek in my class and be like, what in the world is she doing? Because when the kids are sitting there for so long, I would tell them to get up. We'll walk around the classroom. We'll play little games and circles and things like that. And then we'll get back to the work. And I found that they would do the work with a little bit more ease now that they got the wiggles out. And one teacher did have a complaint. She said, you should probably wait till recess to do that. I'm like, no, this worked for me. So we got to get them up and moving, because like literally sitting there is agony for a kid. And I don't think you should force them to just, you know, sit there without any type of movement. And when you give them some movement, when it's time to sit down and actually listen to a story, listen to the lesson, they're more likely to listen to it because they got the wiggles and the jiggles out. Okay. The other good thing that is great with the online school is the communication between me and the online teacher and resource teachers. That is another good thing, because The one thing that he is allowed to do, he did get an IEP, my son. And I had to move hell and high water just to get him that. Because unless you're diagnosed with something like ADHD or whatever, it took 2 years to get him. And like, I went through everything they asked me to go through, but if the therapist is saying, and then the doctor is saying like, look, this is normal, you know, hey. So he got, he was able to get an IEP because of, I said they called it emotional impairment for the behavior, meaning the hyperactivity. They had to put hyperactivity, emotional behavior or something in order to give him an IEP. So the IEP, basically the goal for me was to allow him to get up and stretch his legs, which is what they wasn't letting him do at school, even when he got the IEP from school. But because we're online, they do honor it all the way to the T to allow him to get up and take the breaks. All he does with one of these sticks, when he feels like it, because they're all at his desk, they're in this cup and at his desk. He'll do this to the camera, like the teacher is teaching, he'll do like this. And then he'll give it to me and go take that little break. They all understand what it is, and because we're not in a classroom, it doesn't bother anybody. I used to tell the teachers that at the school, and they just like would not do it. They're like, no, that's a disruption and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, do you know how much of a difference it would make if you just allowed that? I'm like, I allow it. I allow it. In fact, instead of just allowing it for one kid in the class to do it, I would do it with the whole class. And like literally the whole class needs it because they're so small. They're so small, and some kids cannot sit still, and some kids, like I was one of those kids, I could sit still. Like literally, I could just sit still. I can, you know, be patient. I can be quiet. I can shut my mouth. I can follow the rules, but that's not every child. So, that's basically a lot of what we do in our homeschool. Okay, so right now he's outside. He's playing with his friends. And that also accounts for his PE time, because we have to do a daily, like, okay, what did you do for PE? Did your kid go outside and get some air? You know, and yeah, he has to go outside and get some air. So that's it. But I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I will see you